What's up everyone, this is All I Talk is Tech, and every year Apple releases a new iPhone, and every new iPhone occasionally will have its own issue that is hyped up in the media and talked about forever. An example is the iPhone 4 with antenna gate, and another example is the iPhone 6 with the bending issue, and the 6S with the terrible battery issue. On top of that, there was a little bit of hype around Face ID being able to work on dummies and things like that, and this year's iPhone is no exception. And in this video, I'm going to be giving you guys my complaints about the iPhone 11 from least concerning to most concerning to me as a user. So let's get started with the rant. Okay, so Apple is a company that pays close attention to detail, and whenever they don't pay close attention and they mess up on something, it really shows like a sore thumb. So there's something that actually is very annoying on the iPhone 11, so let me explain. If you're on the iPhone 10 or 10s and you update it to iOS 13, you'll notice that whenever you change the volume on your iPhone, you'll see that the slider is in proportion with the volume buttons. So that slider is the exact same width and height as the volume buttons. Well, on the iPhone 11 and 11 Pro Max, those volume buttons and the slider is misaligned, and that's because this year's iPhone is slightly thicker, and Apple copy and pasted the same software that's on the 10s and pushed it over to the iPhone 11, and that's why the attention to detail really shows here. Apple's kind of lazy with the volume slider, so I really think they should go back and fix that, but that's just me nitpicking. This isn't a huge issue, so let's get into the real stuff. Alright, so the iPhone 11 Pro Max has an incredible camera, but there's one thing that really is the downfall of video recording. So you can see that I've got these really cool zoom in features and the fisheye lens in a way that lets you get a full picture of what you're viewing. But the main issue is, let's just say you want to take a video and slowly zoom up on something, you'll see there's like this cross transition phase that the iPhone goes through. It's so annoying whenever I'm recording a video or something. You can see it has like this transition and it can ruin the video because the iPhone camera is for pro users. Pro users aren't going to want this really crappy transition in the middle of their video. So I really think that this could possibly be fixed by software. I think Apple did probably their best, but I think they could think of something better because I do know the camera placement does have an effect on this and the angle of the object that you're viewing, but I really do think there's a way that Apple could probably improve upon this very terrible feature. Alright, so the iPhone 11 Pro Max and the iPhone 11 Pro have incredible battery improvements from last year, but iOS 13 is actually the downfall of that, and I'll explain why. So, for some reason, if you turn on night mode on an older iPhone using iOS 13, like my iPhone 10 right here, the battery drains really fast because the iPhone heats up, and that can actually ruin the overall capacity of the battery over the battery's lifetime. So heat is really bad for the iPhone, and I noticed that that feature is carried over to the iPhone 11 and the 11 Pro Max, and I noticed I had the same problem. Using night mode actually strains the processor in a way. I don't know what the deal is in iOS 13, but my iPhone 11 Pro Max ended up getting pretty hot just with normal usage as I had night mode turned on. So this is very critical news, I think, mainly because Apple advertised that the battery's really good, but that's slowly going to degrade as the maximum capacity begins to decrease because your iPhone is exposed to more heat as you use it than the regular user would if they just didn't use night mode. And because night mode is a huge critical part of the iOS 13 update, I think it's important that Apple should fix this because that can actually destroy your iPhone's battery. Now, me personally, I love wallpapers, and for some reason, my iPhone 11 Pro Max doesn't have all the dynamic wallpapers. I'm on my iPhone 10 right now, and that has all the dynamic wallpapers, but for some reason, the latest iPhone doesn't. On top of that, if you go to the latest iPhone Live wallpapers, you'll notice that if you actually set them as your lock screen or home screen wallpaper, they're pretty low quality, and it's kind of strange to see for a device that's $1,000, which is insane. So I noticed that the quality actually gets better when the live wallpaper is activated, but you're not going to be activating the live wallpaper very often. Now, I did also know that the dark mode wallpapers look nicer than the normal ones. So these are the normal ones I'm showing you right now while dark mode isn't being used. And they don't look that good. So on camera, they actually look better than they are. You should see them in person. They're really not that good. And on top of that, if you go to another iPhone, you'll see that they have even more live wallpapers than the Pro iPhones, which I think is crazy. Why do the latest iPhones not have all the wallpapers? So I find that kind of crazy, but that's just me. I love iPhone wallpapers. Anyways, that's about it for today's video. Overall, it's a great phone. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, peace.